Hey hockey player, in this video I want to talk to you about how you can get fresh legs after a long drive. Look, we've all been there. Maybe you got an away game that's 3, 4, or maybe even 5 hours away. And by the time you got there, you felt groggier, your legs felt heavy, you didn't have the normal quickness that you normally have in the beginning of the game, and you just simply don't feel like yourself. I want you to play to your absolute max hockey potential each and every single time you step out in the ice. So I want to offer you some strategies today to help you get fresh legs even after a long drive. It all begins, not always, what you did do, but a lot of times what you didn't do. You did get in the car for an extended period of time, sure. But you didn't do a cool down after your most recent workout. Hockey-specific cooldowns are super important to do a lot of things which I've already covered in a past video that I would really recommend you check out if you haven't already. But what a cooldown is in place for is to create a bridge between the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Those are two branches of the nervous system. Your sympathetic is your fight or flight. These are things we want activated during intense physical activity to maximize our performance. But every moment we're not in the gym or not on the ice, we don't want to be in a sympathetic state. Instead, we want to bridge ourselves down as fast as possible to a parasympathetic state. Where sympathetic is fight or flight, I want you to view parasympathetic as rest and digest. This is what optimizes recovery through increasing blood flow, calming down the body, increasing anabolic hormone production, and doing all the things that we need done to make sure for our next workout we are as recovered as possible and going into it with everything that we got. Cool downs, because of the nature of this nervous system bridging and the exercises that you perform in them, really reduce two things. They reduce pooling of the blood within the worked muscle tissue, which is something that's absolutely not going to help you in terms of feeling like you've got fresh legs after a long drive. If you had blood pooling from your legs from a previous workout and you haven't done a cool down yet. But the other thing a cool down offers is a reduction and a buildup of fatigue byproducts. Things such as hydrogen ions can really build up within a muscle cell, and this is what causes fatigue during exercise. It's one of the mechanisms that cause fatigue. But cool downs help recycle all of these fatigue byproducts that were created through energy metabolism and get them out of the worked muscle, so that muscle is not only less sore, but it has less metabolite buildup. Very long story short, it's going to help your recovery increase at a much faster rate, but it's also going to get things out of there that would have otherwise added to you not having fresh legs and just feeling a lot heavier. So first and foremost, before looking into all these strategies, make sure that you're doing a cool down after your most recent workout before the game that you have in an away period. Okay? That's did versus didn't. Next is your hydration. Hydration is something that a lot of people decrease, not purposefully, but just because they're in the car. Lots of times, athletes are great for getting their water in. They've always got a water bottle around. They drink a lot of water on the ice or during workouts. They have a lot of water throughout the day. They don't have water in the car. And it's of no surprise to anybody who understands sports science that if you're going into a game dehydrated, you're going to feel lethargic. Period. We know from hydration research that very, very, very small percentages of losses in total body water have dramatic impacts on performance. For example, a 0.5% decrease in total body water increases stress on the heart. So your heart beats faster than it normally would have, and an elevated heart rate is associated with exercise-induced fatigue. So a faster heart rate, the body's going to inhibit it and cause you to slow down and reduce your output out in the ice. A 1% loss in body water reduces your cardiovascular capability. So a literal 1% reduction in total body water will reduce your cardio out in the ice, irrespective of how hard you trained or how in shape you are. Hydration is its own independent rate-limiting step. A 2% loss in body water reduces muscular endurance. So things like skating strides throughout all 3 periods, your shot power, winning puck battles. This is all examples of muscular endurance and not cardiovascular capability. But just a 2% loss in body water reduces muscular endurance. So I could keep continuing. 3% loss is a reduction in 1 rep max strength. A 4% loss is a reduction in coordination and mental capacity. You can see it is absolutely massive, and it's very under-discussed and under-respected in the hockey training world how important hydration is. So even if you're in the car for a long time, take water with you and pull over at a fast food restaurant if you need to go to the bathroom. That's fine. It's worth it for your hockey performance, especially since you can also get out the car and shake it off a little bit while you're there. Hydration, wildly important, but hydration isn't complete without electrolytes. Electrolytes are what govern intracellular and extracellular hydration within the muscle cell. So it's not just enough to have water, but a combination of having healthy levels of sodium, magnesium, and potassium within your diet regulate fluid circulation in the body. So it's not just about water. If you're having a lot of fluid buildup in your legs, don't drink more water. It's likely that there is an electrolyte imbalance causing an imbalance between intracellular and extracellular concentrations of water. So having fruits and vegetables on a daily basis, in most cases, if you're having 4 to 6 servings per day, that'll absolutely cover your electrolyte needs in terms of getting the minerals you need for proper fluid circulation throughout the body. So the hydration that you take in can actually perform the job that it's supposed to do. Not to mention, electrolytes dramatically reduce cramps. So if you're someone who's prone to cramping, this will absolutely help in a big way. Particularly, magnesium and potassium are excellent for this. Next, getting into starting to get loosened up, a jump rope is one of my favorite tools for hockey athletes. It's cheap, it's wildly effective, you don't need a large space to do it, and if you know what you're doing, you can get a great workout with a simple jump rope, and that's it. In this case, we're not gonna do a workout, but I am gonna have you skip rope for 5 minutes when you get out of the car. A lot of what happens when you are retaining fluid in the lower body actually has to do with the lymph system. The lymph system, long story short, is very much gravity mediated. It's one of the reasons why people get super swollen ankles and feet after a long plane ride, because sitting for that long period of time slowly causes more and more and more fluid to build up in the lower body. But the lymph system will begin its recirculation with bouncing. It's actually those small trampolines that you've probably seen in stores and in some very sad exercise programs in the past. Those are actually used therapeutically for people who have a lymph circulation issue. Jump rope mimics that. So jumping, you're getting not only warmed up, not only feeling a little bit better, not only having your hand-eye coordination working together, your hand and feet working together at the same time, but you're also getting the lymph system activated to recirculate that fluid as well. So between a cool down, hydration, electrolytes, and jump rope, we're covering everything from the muscle cell to the lymph system to the nervous system to the fatigue metabolites that were built up from a previous output of physical exertion. We're covering everything so far, but it doesn't end there because a pre-game warm-up is vital. I know a lot of you guys skipped the warm-up, but Kevin did an absolutely awesome video on what you need to be doing in the dressing room or in the hallway of the arena or in the parking lot. I don't care where you do it, a pre-game warm-up is vital, especially if you've gone through a long drive, especially. So once you get out of your car, follow all these directions. Do 5 minutes of jump rope first, specifically for the lymph system, but then move into the pregame warm-up, because this is going to improve circulation, increase core temperature, start transitioning you from a parasympathetic into a sympathetic state, which is what we want at this point in time, to start slowly creating the mind-body connection to get you ready to dominate out in the ice. So get that warm-up in ya. Next one here is in-car contractions and stretches. So therapeutically, once again, for people who suffer severe fluid retention on a plane, it can actually cause something known as thrombosis, which is a major problem for the cardiovascular system. For these people, it's actually prescribed to go through very, very, very light, easy exercises and stretches on the plane to create a recirculation effect. This is something you can mimic in the car by just contracting your quad and then relaxing. Contracting for 3 to 5 seconds and then relaxing. Do that 10 times for every hour you're in the car. So if 60 minutes goes by, contract your legs, your thighs very hard for 3 to 5 seconds and then relax them and repeat that 10 times and then do it again with your calves. Do just an easy, quick little calf raise, contract the calf, let it down. Contract the calf, let it down. Do it with your thighs and your calves, because that's going to activate those muscles and cause that circulation to get backwards up through the body and reduce the pooling that happens there. But it's not just about contractions. You'll see I wrote stretching here as well. One thing you can do in the car, in addition to your 10 thigh contractions and your 10 calf contractions, is 10 glute stretches. So you're gonna pull up on your knee, pull up towards your chest while you're sitting in the car. Pull down. 1. Pull up, down. 2. You're gonna do that 10 times per leg to create more circulation, because you still want circulation within the glutes and the hamstrings as well. So between your contractions and your stretches, you're creating recirculation in the glutes, hamstrings, quadriceps, and calves, really making sure that all of that stuff gets out of there that built up from the long drive, so that you got fresh legs by the time you get there. Use strategies that people utilize on long plane rides for these long drives, because you need to optimize your performance. Last but not least, I want to point out a pregame meal. Sometimes people have their pregame meal way too close to the game or way too far away from the game, simply because of the drive. If you want to optimize your hockey performance, you should be having your pregame meal 1 to 3 hours before hitting the ice. 1 to 3 hours. So make sure that if you need to bring a meal with you in the car, then do so. Don't have your pregame meal and then drive for 4 hours and then get on the ice. At the same level of wrongness in this scenario, don't drive for 4 hours and then cram a pregame meal in right before you get in the ice. In both scenarios, it would be considered suboptimal. So get that meal in 1 to 3 hours beforehand and bring it in with you in the car if you need to. Utilize all of these strategies to make sure you've got fresh legs, because I know if you use these, you're gonna feel like a completely different hockey player compared to the last time you did a long drive. If you liked that video, smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to our hockey training channel. And if you want a free explosive speed training package, click on the link in the comment section below.